Sunday today. It's another live stream session, and welcome. This is the Majestic Bean channel for anyone who watches this video and it's their first time. My name is Goran. This is Valeria. We have a third person working with us in this channel. That's Madeline, but she's away. So if it's your first time, you'll meet her later. Welcome. Today we're gonna do a little Q&A, just answer a couple of questions some of the people who follow us on Instagram have asked, and also if someone else joins us on this live stream, we'll answer their questions as well. Now, before we begin, we just want to say that if this is your first time watching our videos and you like this video, check out some of our other videos on our YouTube channel. You'll find we have a lot of content about coffee in general, and then we also have some content that's specific to the Gadget Classic machine. So many people have this machine at home, so you might find it useful to watch some of our videos.
Makes sense. Pretty linear.
Pretty good. We also have an Instagram page. It's TMBean channel. So check it out. Over there we daily post coffee stuff. You know, whatever happens, if we make a coffee and it's nice, you know, we take a picture, post it, say what's going on with that coffee, you know, and kind of cool stuff, you know. We try to interact with our subscribers from YouTube or Instagram as well. That way we bring both communities together, and it's kind of cool.
Yes.
So yeah, let's begin. Valeria has the questions because my phone is recording this live stream, and while we're doing that, we also might make ourselves a coffee as well.
Yes, please.
Because we still haven't had a coffee today.
Alright.
And I'm sleepy.
So, we start with Elliot, which asks, what's the espresso setting on your Baratza setup?
Oh, Valeria did something very interesting today. She said espresso setting.
I didn't say espresso.
Espresso.
Did I?
We'll rewind later. We'll rewind later
The
and see what's going on.
espresso.
So the Italian here.
I said espresso, by the way, but
The Italian.
maybe in my head, I don't know now.
It's
I'm questioning it.
So Elliot asked, what's the espresso setting on this particular grinder?
Yeah.
So over here we have a Baratza Sete 270, and it's not only one espresso setting that I'm using for my beans, right? Because we're trying different beans, and that will ultimately mean we're using different settings. So the espresso range on this grinder at the moment is between 6 and 5. And then we also have these micro settings underneath. So that means we're literally having 2 times 3, 6, 8, 9. So that means we're ranging between 18 different settings depending on which beans they are. But since these are micro settings, they would make a very slight difference when grinding coffee and extracting it. But that's a good thing, right? So anyway, to answer the question, we are between 6 and 5 and all of the micro settings underneath. Now, your espresso settings on the Baratza would depend also on the fact that if you have already installed one of those little shims that come with it, or you haven't. If you haven't, for example, your espresso settings will be totally different from mine, because I already installed one of them, and all of a sudden my espresso grinding settings went from 21 to 6, because that shim creates what that shim does is allows you to grind finer, and ultimately brings your espresso setting from the coarse range on this machine to the finer settings. So that way you are able to use this grinder more for different brewing methods. So that's what it does. And the grinder comes with 2 shims. So what happens is over time, once you start using it, you know, you've used it for a year, you've used it for a lot of different beans, you've ground maybe, I don't know, kilos and kilos of beans. What happens is, the more you use it, the more the burrs will become blunt, and that means that you will need to grind finer and finer each time they get blunter for espresso. And that means that once you don't have enough settings for espresso, you just put the second shim, and all of a sudden you can grind espresso. And after that, after you've abused the second shim as well, then you're probably due for new burrs. But I think that answers the question, you know, in detail.
Beautiful.
Then write some beans.
Ready for the next one?
Next one is a tough one.
Okay, so Rob from How to Coffee asks,
My friend Rob.
hi Rob, why did you get into coffee?
Why did I get into coffee? Well, that's an excellent question, Rob. That's
It's story time.
It's story time. Alright. So, the first time I actually started working in hospitality, I was working in a nightclub. Right? And a nightclub means you're only doing night shifts. Let's close the door before we continue.
I have some backyard birds that
We have a lot of wildlife here, which is beautiful, but you know, when the door is open, it's kind of distracting. Anyway, so I worked in this nightclub back in Slovenia, where I'm from, right? And during the day, this nightclub was open for coffee. It was literally like a cafe outside, and then during the night, it would transform into a nightclub. And obviously, you're not serving coffee at nightclubs, but so basically, what I did is I asked one of the guys that was working there during the day in the cafe to teach me how to make coffee, in order to get more shifts, because I needed more work, because I, as far as I remember, I was on holiday from uni, and I wanted to save up some money, so I wanted to work more. So the manager there didn't have enough hours for me to work in a nightclub, so I thought, let me learn how to make coffee, and maybe I'll find some work, you know, during the day as well. And that little snowball kind of rolled and rolled, and then I started only making coffee in a couple of cafes back home, and then I came to Melbourne, right? I came in Melbourne, moved here, and I wasn't aware that coffee is such a widely consumed product in Melbourne, because, I mean, obviously, where I come from, we are very we live on the border with Italy, right? And you'd expect that, since coffee is huge in Italy, espresso is huge there, that I wouldn't be surprised how big coffee is here. But there's a huge difference between the coffee industry in Europe, especially in the part where I come from, in Slovenia, near the border with Italy, and in Melbourne. Coffee here is nuts. You know, I didn't expect that. So I started working in Brunetti here in Melbourne, which is like an institution in the hospitality industry. And obviously the coffee was very Italian there, let's put it that way. And then this one day, you know, although I was working with coffee, it's not like I was very enthusiastic about it. It was just my, you know, just the first job I could get in Melbourne was coffee related, because obviously I had some hospitality experience. And just like many people coming from overseas, you start working in hospitality. But then one day, if anyone watching this video is from Melbourne, I was walking along Flinders Lane, and on Flinders Lane, to the left, there is this shop called Duke's Coffee Roasters. And when I went past their door, this smell of beautiful coffee hit my nose. And I'm like, wow, what's this? I've never smelled coffee like this. It was smelling so nice. And Valeria knows because we visit Duke's Coffee Roasters very often, at least when we can. And she knows what I'm talking about, because when you just go past that coffee shop, the smell and the aroma of coffee is just something that, it's just amazing. It's beautiful,
Yes, true.
And what happened is we went in, and obviously until that point I have never tried specialty coffee, right? So I didn't know what coffee is all about. We're just used to this, Italian style coffee, but then specialty coffee is like much, much different. And anyway, that snowball rolled even more, and it became even bigger. And then I started working in specialty coffee shops, and then that gave me exposure to different specialty coffee roasters from Melbourne and Australia wide as well. And first I started just brewing filter coffee at home, pour over the V60. I got the V60 because it was the cheapest one, and I got a cheap kettle as well because I was working on a budget, right? So we started making filter coffee, and as Valeria recalls, that was kind of interesting. I was getting very into it, experimenting with different coffees.
And recipes and ratios.
Yes, and then now I'm gonna answer how I got into coffee even more. There was this one coffee, it was roasted by Dukes from Burundi, which is I think it's a Central African country. I might be wrong, Valeria will check it, because we want to be accurate. But anyway, it was a Burundi coffee, or whatever it's pronounced. And until then, I could never hit the tasting notes of the coffee I was brewing, meaning I was doing something wrong. Either the ratio was not right, or the tasting notes were not there. I was brewing coffee, but I kind of didn't know how to dial it in to get the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Burundi coffee was the first coffee I was able to properly dial in and get the tasting notes right. And you probably remember because that was the one that was tasting like kiwi fruit.
Yes.
And very sweet.
And it was
it was amazing. And at that moment, it was like eureka. This is probably like 2-3 years ago. It wasn't a long time ago, but it was just very satisfying to be able to get it right, basically, because up until that point you don't know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you kind of figure it out, and from then on just keep on going. Did you check where Burundi is?
It's in East Africa.
East Africa, so it's an East African country, and this coffee was delicious. The kiwi fruit, it was literally like eating a kiwi fruit.
It felt like that.
It was a tasting note, but it really felt like that, if you remember.
Yeah. No, it was interesting the fact
I recall the exact taste because
Yeah.
When you can recall tasting sensations with your brain and so on. I can actually taste that coffee now.
That's right.
It was amazing. Yeah, let's need some milk. But that was so cool. So that's basically how I got into coffee. And now I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with coffee, but like specialty coffee is important to me. I really enjoy nice coffee, so that would probably mean that the Italian style coffee that many people enjoy around the world is not for me anymore.
Fair enough.
That's it.
We got a question from. Do you know this name? A-E.
No.
Don't know
It's
that.
initials.
Yeah, I don't know the full
AE
name.
is trying to be anonymous,
Okay.
and we support anonymity.
Okay, we support privacy.
Yes.
Good morning, Free Damien.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Damien, my friend. He is an Italian from Canada, wasn't it?
So AE says, like the story, you're doing a great job. And how about Valeria? How did she get into coffee?
Oh, Valeria will answer that.
Well, I never got into coffee the way that Goran does, obviously. I just got, how do I say, involved in it in the process. You know, as he went more, you know, became more interested into coffee, I just tagged along because I was curious as well to try the different shades of coffee. And I came from the same background. I'm Italian, so we're just used to dark roasted coffee, and I wasn't even aware that there could be different tasting notes, right? You know, with dark roasted coffee, when you have an espresso wherever you are, you just drink it like a shot, pretty much. You don't even sit down immediately for that.
Going, yeah.
Yeah. But when you discover that in Melbourne there's literally a plethora of tastes and the different methods of brewing something, or even different methods of roasting something, that gives you so much space for doing different experiments. And so yeah, that moment when we tried the Burundi coffee, it hit me as well. Like, I tasted for the first time those different flavors that were developing as the coffee was decreasing in temperature. So that was very surprising for me. And yeah, and after that I just, I don't know, I just wanted to try different stuff, but he's the one that leads what to try, because he's the one where, you know, to look for these particular coffees.
So I make it, Valeria drinks it. That's how this
benefits.
couple works, basically.
Yeah, true.
That's it. But yeah, it just developed like that, you know, from one coffee bag to another, and then it wasn't working out, and I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? In between, obviously, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos to see, you know, to basically troubleshoot what I was doing wrong, because I was doing something wrong. And, you know, to how to pour the water on top of the coffee when you're doing a V60, to brewing ratios, to bed depth, to agitation, to the Scott rail swirl, to uneven flat bed after extraction, and so on. So it's really a rabbit hole to get into, but once you follow like 5 or 6 steps and you never change them, then you'll definitely be onto something. And in the future, once I get a new gooseneck kettle, we will definitely get into pour over coffee.
Yes.
And we will make videos specifically about pour over coffee, where I will cover these 5 to 6 different steps that need to be followed to get the best out of what you're doing with the V60 or even the Kalita and, you know, other pour over devices, but we'll probably use the V60. Yes, and good morning to Damien. I forgot to say it before. Hello, Damien. Hope you're doing well.
Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
This probably is the last one.
We have
2
1,
more.
2, 3 more
Oh.
if you want. So Jason asks, can a bean be sour no matter what?
That's interesting.
The expert says,
Can I be sour? How do I answer that? Because sour is an unpleasant sensation, right? coffee in general is not supposed to be sour, or at least as far as I know, because if a coffee tastes sour, as in lemon juice, for example, then there is something wrong with it. You've either done something wrong on your part when you were making the coffee, as in extracting the coffee, or it might be a roaster's mistake, and maybe they have roasted it too light, they haven't developed the coffee enough, but this second thing is not so likely, I think. So also from experience, for example, with Valeria, coffee tasting sour to her does not mean the coffee is actually sour. It just, when you are first getting into lighter roasted coffee as espresso, what you taste is something that you don't actually expect, and you are entering this unknown, what are we going to call it?
Uncharted territory.
Yes, this uncharted territory of flavor that you have never previously experienced, and your body is trying to identify, I mean, your brain probably, and your tasting buds are probably trying to identify it in a very easy way, right?
It's something that it already experienced.
Yes, yes. And for example, there is many times when she would say, oh, this just tastes sour and or bitter. So because bitter, sour, sweet is, I don't know what else, but bitter, sour, and sweet are basically the most basic tasting notes anyone can taste. So if something tastes sour, it doesn't actually mean it's sour. It just, maybe you've just gotten into specialty coffee and that's why. Or maybe it is. It's kind of difficult to answer it, but I think from experience with Valeria, right? It has to do something with, you enter these uncharted territories, you don't know kind of what's going on, you're tasting something, you're not sure if you're doing the right thing. So that's, that's when you just need to keep on going, keep on experimenting, keep on watching videos on YouTube, keep on doing your thing, practicing, developing your tasting palate,
and learning
and
how to
overall,
articulate more.
Yes, overall, then your flavor memory in your brain actually starts developing, and like you literally start recalling tasting notes from experience, right?
Yeah.
The other day I remember I was drinking a batch brew at work, and I was taking the last sip. It already cooled down, and I'm walking towards the dishwasher to put the cup to wash, and it just hit me. The last sip tasted like coconut water, and I'm like, fuck, my brain starts working in a way where it just starts thinking, you take a sip, it starts thinking about tasting notes. It's very weird, it's very interesting, So it's all practice. I don't think beans are supposed to be sour, but then again, it might just be that you are entering specialty coffee, and who knows.
I think that Jason is here.
Is He's loud now. He's loud.
We got some.
So anyway, hello Jason. I hope I answered the question.
Okay, we got some comments. So AE says, sounds cool. Thank you for the answer. It's the same here. In my case, it was a Yirgakev.
Yirgachev.
Oh my God, sorry.
Region in Ethiopia, very famous for coffee production.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey exploring a new world of tastes.
That's true. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Coffee is amazing.
We also have John Smith that says, hi, I found your channel a few days ago and bought Gaja Classic for my girlfriend for her birthday. Thank you. Cheers from Poland.
Thank you, John, for following our channel and also taking our videos as advice to buy a Gaja Classic. Hopefully Gaja will send that check, send that kashols to us as well, because I think we're doing them a favor, right? But anyway, I hope He bought it for his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
That's very generous of you. Yeah, that's a very nice gift. If she's into coffee, hopefully she'll enjoy it. Maybe she will watch some of our YouTube videos to have a look how to use it properly, clean it properly as well. Hopefully you'll explain to her how important it is to keep her machine clean. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Jason, it left me with a sour aftertaste even after so drank it.
That's possible. It might have been just a mistake while extracting the coffee, maybe channeled.
Mm-hmm.
When lighter roasts tend to channel easier than more developed roasts for some chemistry reasons and I don't know, structure of the beans and so on. So if the beans are roasted too light, the chance of channeling increases, so it gets more difficult to extract them properly when using pressure as in the espresso brewing method. So that might explain it as well. Might. But who knows?
And you said, and yes, I'm not familiar with lighter beans, and these are lighter specialty coffee.
Mhm.
Love you guys. Yes,
Love
you
you
have
too, Jason.
help.
Thank you so much for that. That was an excellent question. It's a bit difficult to answer it, but it kind of, my brain needs to start working as well. I haven't had a coffee yet. I'm gonna have one
In the
now.
process, in the making. We also have Noah saying, I'll be getting a setter soon. What grind setting do you usually start with for a new bean?
So as I said, Noah, I just answered this question. What you need to do is when the setter arrives, you just need to experiment. So if you go on Baratza's website, they will have a broad range of where you should start, but that doesn't mean they'll be right because, nobody is right 100% of the time, and also, usually manufacturers put shit in the instruction manuals that most of the time don't work. Anyway, just start, for example, at 9 and see where you go. Also, I'd recommend installing the first shim if it's not already pre-installed. Install the first shim even before you start using it, because you might find that without any of the shims installed on the grinder, you will not be able to grind fine enough for espresso, or at least that happened to me. So I hope that answers your question, but just install the first shim if it's not already in, and start from 9 and take it from there.
Cool.
I think that helps.
I think so too. And Jason says also, my PID arrives on Monday.
Oh, there we go. Which PID did you get, Jason? If you can answer that. If it's the Mr. Shades PID, that's the one I have as well. That will transform the machine.
Someone says, okay, Damien says, how many cups a day you drink? And I also have another person saying, Miha Test, saying, believe it or not, I never found out what PID stands for.
I have no idea either, man.
I want to look it up.
Far
I have no idea.
PID. Well, there you go. You got us, Dave.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is for more of electronics geeks. People who are interested in electronics. I'm not really, to be honest. I was just trying to make this Gaja Classic work better. So. What is it?
Okay.
Integrated something.
PID is an acronym that stands for proportional, integral, and derivative, helping computers
Whatever
behave
that
more
means.
like humans.
Woo!
Well, this is stuff with
This
senses.
is half human now.
This is what my sister is learning at the university about
She could have helped us
yeah,
installing it.
with the
Because
sensors
I had a bit of trouble.
and stuff like that.
Valeria remembers how nervous I got after spending almost a whole day of installing this PID kit.
10 hours.
Oh my
It
God.
was like a full shift
10
or
11
more.
hours. I was fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a little long black over here. I don't know if you saw my little technique of how I make my long blacks. First I
But
do
you
the
were
double
like
espresso,
squirting water
and then I
all
squirt
over.
hot water on it.
Okay. Okay, so Jason said shades of coffee. Lovely.
There we go.
Oak.
Yes.
Super nice.
So Jason, yeah, it's gonna be this PID will transform your machine. I hope you won't have trouble installing it because I found it a bit difficult. But then again, I really don't know anything about electronics, so I kind of just followed the manual. It was a bit difficult, to be honest. You know, for me. Other people are saying, I don't know, it's very easy, you know, but I'm just dumb sometimes.
Not all the time.
Or you told Adrian you were writing because of me.
Yes.
Adrian, the person who is selling the PID kit, is awesome. I really have only good words for him because when I encountered the problem, I had a little issue with the PID after I installed it, after a couple of days. I texted him on the customer support chat they have. He answered straight away and he was super helpful. Also, I had trouble the first time I installed the PID kit. I had trouble fitting all the screws to the case. So what he did was send me a complimentary PID case for free, just because he didn't like the way the PID case looked on my machine.
Wow.
So I mean, you know,
That was
whenever a person does that, it shows you that they care about their customers and they care about their product as well. So I really appreciate passionate people like that. So hello to Adrian if he ever watches this video.
And a big
because-
shout out to him.
Yes. And Adrian, you're the man. He's in the UK, so he's doing his own thing, and I really like passionate people that take care of their customers and their product as well.
Yes. Now, Noah says, I installed my new 9-bar spring yesterday into my Gaja. It was terrifying.
Well, there you go. Well, to be honest, installing the it's called a OPV, overpressure valve spring, which decreases the pressure at which the machine operates from around 15 to 9 bars. That change of the spring is actually pretty easy, to be honest, you know. At least I found it easy. But if you find that difficult, then installing the PID kit might be a challenge. In all honesty, you know, I hope Adrian doesn't mind what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to be honest here, you know. That's my opinion. It's challenging. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So yes, Adrian is a great guy, as Jason said. You know, I think, do we have any more questions?
Would you like one more?
Yeah.
Okay, so what basket, Troy asked,
Mm-hmm.
what basket size are you using?
Okay. So, the basket, this is probably the most commonly asked question. And I'll let you know now, when Madeline comes back, we will be doing probably a 2-part series video, or whatever. I don't know if I said it right, but it's gonna be 2 videos in which I'm gonna answer the most commonly asked questions so far through all these 6 months that we've gotten in the comments. So that way, instead of people asking the same questions over and over and over again, we just create 2 videos, and it's gonna be, you know, the most frequently asked questions, and that way you just click on it. It's probably gonna be 10 to 15 minutes each, and I might even put the timestamps on it. So you actually just click on the question you want the answer to, and it leads you straight away to that part of the video. So I'm gonna do that. I think I compiled around 15 to 20 questions so far, but this was a month ago. So since we've been busy doing other videos and so on, and you know, we haven't been able to do this video, but we'll do it soon. And to answer Troy's question, it is a 18 gram VST precision coffee basket, and I dose, most of the time I dose 19, sometimes even 20 grams of coffee in it, because it has a tolerance. The 18 means the minimum dose you can put into this basket is 18 grams or above, up until 21 grams if it's a lighter roast. If it's a darker roast, you can't really fit 21 grams because darker roasted coffee is, how do I put it, takes more surface area than lighter roasted coffee because of chemistry and I don't know what. So anyway.
We have some other questions.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys use for removal of the basket from the portafilter?
Oh, just
My hands.
it's very easy. Clicks in, clicks out. But this is only possible with a ridgeless coffee basket. And a ridgeless coffee basket means it doesn't have a little ridge over here on the top.
Ah, to seal it in?
Yes, because
Right.
the ridgeless, the one with the ridge, once you lock it in, you will probably need to use a spoon to kind of wedge it out. And you know, it serves its own purpose, but for us this works better because I clean my machine very often. I clean the basket after every use so I don't get oils developing on the bottom of it. So as you can see, I just used it, wiped it, cleaned it nice, you know. So that way, you know, you don't need to do this huge clean once a month. Instead, if you just wipe it every day, it's gonna be nice and shiny. You know?
Look at that.
But the VST baskets are amazing. They're a bit costly. They cost around 40 Australian dollars, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Which is a bit expensive, to be honest. But the difference it makes in your espresso has probably the most impact other than a good grinder. So yeah, so it's very important.
Last question.
And Noah.
Did the PID make your workflow faster?
Yes, the PID makes everything better. The PID is, I think it's just essential. You know, it should be essential. Just as you would invest money in a grinder, if you have this machine, invest money in a PID and you will never look back. It makes steaming milk easier. The milk quality is miles better, or way better than before, because I can control and adjust the temperature of the steam. It makes workflow faster because you don't need to temperature serve. It's very stable after a while when the machine is heated up, because you know, at least you know that your temperature of the water coming out of here will be stable instead of fluctuating like before, which means a more even extraction, better tasting espresso, and so on. And
Noah is already convinced.
yeah,
He's sold.
it's, well, you're welcome, Adrian. Anyway, yeah, so it's just it's worth it. It's worth it. Just hopefully you know how to install it. That's all I'm saying, you know.
Hopefully you won't have the same
I
trouble.
really wish that Adrian would make a video about how to install it instead of the instruction manual he provides on in a PDF format.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't
That would
know.
really help.
I can also understand his point of view, because it would be very difficult to make that video, because this is a small machine. You are operating in a tight space. It would be very. I don't know how anyone could film it. Like, you would probably need
Well,
to
someone.
put a lot of effort. No, but even that way, you know, it's very little, and you're putting your fingers all over the place. You know, it's
Right,
kind of
yeah.
difficult. So I don't know. That might be the reason. Maybe there is another reason. I don't know. Maybe who knows? Only Adrian knows that. But if possible, I would. You know, it would be great, not only for me, because I already got it, but for future people who are going to buy it, you know, it would be great.
Perfect.
And that's it. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Before we go, I just wanted to let you know that I created a PayPal, I don't know if it's called a link or a page or whatever, it's an account on PayPal, and I will include the link to the PayPal in every video from now on. Now the goal for that is, if it's not more for supporting us, but I really like the idea, as I said before, of doing giveaways that are supported by the community, and then one person from the community gets the gift from the giveaway. So if anyone is interested, you will find the link to the PayPal in the description below of this video and any previous videos, because I'm going to add it there as well. And that way you click on the link, you donate a certain amount, hopefully the name of the person who donated will probably show up on the PayPal, and then after a while, when we pull in enough money, everything will be transparent. I will let everyone know here how much money there is. I will let you know which product I'm gonna get with those money, and then we're gonna pick one lucky winner and send it anywhere in the world, including the US, Canada, anywhere in Europe, even in Asia, Africa, whatever. I don't know if anyone from Africa is watching, but you know, if they are, you know, they can get the gift as well. We will ship it anyway. So that's the goal. The PayPal is done. I'll include the link. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you for the awesome interaction. I really enjoyed this. This video is probably very long, probably 40 minutes. We get carried on. Yeah, it's gonna have difficulties uploading on YouTube, as always.
Hopefully everything will be fine.
So yes, thank you. I hope you have an amazing day or night, depending on wherever you live. We're gonna go to the beach today and enjoy the sunny weather. So thank you, Damien, Jason, Noah, John, and everyone else for asking the questions, including Rob, my friend from Melbourne. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
See you next time. Alrighty, let's press the X.